Good morning everyone, today we're talking about the 5 biggest mistakes photographers make when they start video. Alright guys, I hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome to a new episode. Today is very special because I want to share with you something I've been thinking a lot lately. Look, we've been only talking about video on this channel. Oh, sorry, we've been talking about only photography on this channel actually. And I thought, you know what? The day I started doing video, it was super confusing for me, even as a photographer. So I thought, why don't I share with you the 5 biggest mistakes I made when I was starting just videography. It's gonna be very simple. I think we can pin it down and whoops, sorry guys. And it's gonna make your life a lot easier if you're trying to start to do video. And those 5 mistakes, in my opinion, are crucial. Once you nail those 5, meaning you don't do them anymore, you're gonna make a huge progress in your videos, and it's also going to be a lot easier for you to shoot. So why don't we start with number 1. So there are a lot of things that we get wrong as photographers when we start video, but I think shutter speed is clearly one of the biggest problems. We don't really understand how the thing called shoot double the frame rate speed with your shutter speed works, and it's actually very simple. And the reason I'm sharing that with you is because it took me a very long time to actually get used to it and also to see the difference. Because here's the rule: people tell you that, for example, if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, you should actually multiply by 2 that frame rate and use it at the shutter speed base. So for example, if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, you want to shoot at 1/40th of a second, 1/48th of a second, which translates to 1/50th of a second, to be honest, in your camera. But the problem is I never really understood why, you know? I'm like, what does it really change? And I thought I'm just gonna show you an example. So imagine I'm shooting at 24 frames per second at 1/50th of a second. This is what it would look like. But now, if I'm shooting at 24 frames per second, but at 100th of a second, this is what it would look like. And I don't know if you can tell, maybe let's try to zoom in a little bit. The frames look kind of fake in a way. It's like, you have motion blur basically when you're shooting at 24 frames per second and 50th of a second, but when you increase that shutter speed, well, you end up with like frames that look very kind of choppy. And for example, if you're moving your if you're moving your camera a lot, it's gonna get very shaky. Now the second most important thing is actually, guys, when you're shooting video, there is nothing like RAW. When you're shooting photos, you can shoot in RAW, and it's great because you can recover and change the white balance, you can do whatever you want after. But when you're shooting video, it is very much like shooting in JPEG, which means you need to get everything right in your camera. So the biggest mistake I've made in the past was simply not to set my white balance correctly, leave it in auto, which meant that my camera would actually change suddenly the colors in the footage, and that is a nightmare after to edit. It means you need to pause in certain sections, just warm it up, cool it down. It's just terrible. You don't want to be doing that. It's one of those things that you don't want to take with you, like that rock, but it's really gonna help you in the future, because when you have to it doesn't make any sense, right? When you set your white balance, well, it takes a little bit more time for each scene, but at least it gives you a very consistent look throughout your footage, and it's very easy to edit. So yeah, do not forget that. Shooting video is just like shooting JPEGs. You have very little control afterwards. Guys, the point number 3 is shakiness of your footage. You know what? When you're shooting photo, it's actually easy to have sharp photos because you just need to increase your shutter speed. It's gonna lock the frame, like freeze it. But when you're shooting video, the problem is that your footage ends up really shaky really quickly. There is nothing to stabilize it. So my tip here is very simple, because nothing will save you when you're shooting video. Use a camera that has in-body stabilization. Use lenses that have stabilization in lenses, and also watch some of the videos showing you how to have non-shaky footage, because they give a lot of techniques. For example, using a camera strap around your neck, holding super still. So being still is the most important thing you can do when you're shooting video. It might be overrated, but for example, gimbals are magical. They really help you get smooth footage versus shaky footage. And I can tell you, it was terrible at the beginning when it started. Everything was moving in all directions. I didn't really understand why, and then I started digging into literature, seeing also that you could shoot for slow motion. It makes the footage a little bit better. You can do it in post, which I don't recommend. It doesn't look so good, but try really hard to get the most stable footage possible when you're shooting it. Afterwards, it's very difficult to recover. The next one is simply in terms of autofocus. So I don't know if you've ever thought about it, but when you're taking a photo, you're basically half pressing to lock your focus, and then it's taking the photo. What happens when you're shooting video, it's more like continuous mode on your camera, meaning the whole way you're shooting, it's gonna refocus. So there are two ways you can prevent your camera from going crazy and focusing on random locations. The first one is going to be simply to use manual focus. And yes, in video, it is absolutely very helpful, which means your focus is 100% control. Nothing is gonna disturb it, no element that might go in front of your frame, because obviously that happens when you shoot. So manual focus is a great way. Otherwise, just learn about the different focus modes you can use in your camera. If you're shooting people, for example, on my Sony, I have eye autofocus tracking, which means it will track people's faces, and that is also a very good option. So my tip here is shoot either in single point focus or shoot in zone, but with eye focus tracking. That will be very helpful. Obviously, shoot in manual focus if you can, if you're doing very precise work. And last one, guys, before the bonus, is simply number 5, is simply make sure you expose your shots correctly. I think I'm crooked. It is very important. As I mentioned, it's like shooting a JPEG. You cannot recover anything. So it is crucial for you to get the shots right. Make sure you go in manual exposure. You set your shutter speed correctly. As I mentioned, double the frame rate you're shooting at. Get your ISO locked. Don't get it too high because it gets very noisy and it's difficult to recover on video. And also make sure your aperture is constant and is not going to change all around. It makes it, to be honest, it made such a big difference when I started shooting manual, fully manual, versus in aperture priority or in auto and all that. And it was just so consistent. You can get good footages. So for example, you get the sun setting behind me. I can go in front of the frame. It's not gonna change. It makes it very professional. Whenever you have a hand going in front of a camera and you see everything change, it doesn't look pro, you know? You want that special effect. I hear a drone, my friends are flying. You want that special effect where when someone goes in front of it, you want it to go black. I mean, there's so many effects that you want to make sure you get in camera when you're exposing correctly and that you're exposing in manual. And I think it's just very essential, guys. Please, if you're shooting video, if you're trying to go full manual, it's gonna make a big difference, a very big difference. At least it did for me. Before I give you the bonus, guys, I want to know, do you shoot video? Let me know in the comments below. Do you shoot a little bit of video, a lot of video? What kind of camera do you use? Do you use the same camera or are you using more like a GoPro? I'm super curious. And also, do you want more videos on video? Does that make sense? If yes, I will do more of those. But that video has been in my mind for a long time. I was like, I wish when I was a photographer someone had made that video. So I'm making it for someone else like me in the future. I'm missing, wow, look at that. This is so, wow, guys. That is absolutely magnificent. Wow. Thank you, Mother Nature, for an amazing spectacle or show, whatever you want to call it. The bonus, guys, is actually a huge advantage we have as photographers. We understand a frame, we understand composition, we know how to place objects in order to tell better stories, and that makes a very big difference. I think it makes us better creators. It makes us actually better videographers when we're able to translate that knowledge about frames and composition and subject and portraits in the video world. And I can tell you, it is no different. It is absolutely no different. So please, if you're trying to do video, don't forget about what you're doing in photography. It's gonna be very helpful in your videos. Let me tell you that, yeah. Guys, I'm gonna be out of breath in a second, so remember I have the 30-day photography challenge that is live and has started. 30 days from good to great photography. If you ever thought of getting your photography to the next level, this is the bootcamp you want. It is absolutely awesome. Take it as a challenge. Join me in this adventure. It's awesome. The link is below. Please check it out. This is what I wish I had when I started photography, to be honest. So yeah, I made it for you guys. Remember, if you're new to the channel, I'm travel adventure photographer. I'm traveling all around the world, creating those videos for you. If you have destination you recommend, drop them below. But the most important is simply subscribe, guys. Hit that SUB button, ring that notification bell. It's gonna make an amazing noise. And I will see you in the next episode when I'm not out of breath. Get out there, go shoot, try something different, try something new. Why not video tomorrow? See you guys, bye. Yeah guys, I forgot to mention, but the 30-day to amazing photography is obviously also for videographers, because understanding frame compositions, getting to shoot better stills gets you to shoot better motions. So don't hesitate, check it out. Please, if you need, I can't do this.